Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's session, we will talk about Copilot Studio. So open your browser and go to copilotstudio.microsoft.com. You will see this page. Click on the agents on the left hand side and click on the new agent. In this section, we can describe what type of agent we want. So it will add some basic configuration for us. And see, we have provided that the name of the agent will be customer support. So it has created an agent with this name. Click on that create button. Okay, our agent has been created. So the name of the agent is customer support. You can click on this edit button and edit properties. If you want to change the name, you can change here. If you want to change the icon, you can change here, or you can provide a description of the agent. Let's provide some description. Okay, so this agent is using this model by default, GPT-4. And in this section, we will describe what this agent is supposed to do. So this will be so that is basically the instruction this agent is supposed to handle. So in the next section, we have to provide a data. So this data will be a data source, and that will be a list of questions and answers. So if I can show you an Excel file I have created. So this file, the CSV file, has a list of all the questions and their answers. For example, this one, do you offer any discount or do you get gift wraps? What is the store credit? And all the possible questions I have. So we will provide this CSV file as a data source to that agent. So click on that add knowledge. So you can see here you can provide a file on your OneDrive from your SharePoint, or you can just browse and select or upload a file. You can also provide a public website URL. So if you provide this public website URL, all the content in that website will be crawled and will be used as the data source. If you have data source stored in a SharePoint list or library or somewhere, you can select this SharePoint. If you have Azure AI search instance running, which has some indexes and it has some own data, so you can use this Azure AI search. If you have tables, multiple tables in Dataverse, you can use this option. Similarly, if you have D365, you can choose this option. Or if you have Azure SQL database, you can choose that option as well. In our case, we have a CSV file, so we'll upload one. So that's a CSV file, add to agent. Okay, so file has been uploaded and now it's looking into the data source and try to understand what are the questions and answers in that data source. So it will take few minutes maybe. Meanwhile, we can talk about this web search thing. So if you enable this web search, that means it will try to search information in the data source, but it will also go to the web search to find more information. In our case, we don't need it, so that's why it's disabled. We don't need to enable it. Then we have this tools section. Tools mean if you want to do something, if you want to tell something that something has happening, then you can use this tool section. We will in fact create a new agent and we will create a tool, test how it works. Similarly, we have triggers. So this is trigger. When do you want this agent to trigger? When do you want this agent to do some work? So that trigger we will create in a few minutes. So I think it will take a little bit more time. So I will pause this video and come back. Okay, it's now showing ready. So that means our data source is available and it has scrolled all the information from the database. So if I go into my CSV file and just type a random question, for example, what is your return policy? So you can clearly see that this is searching in the knowledge source, which we have provided as a CSV file. And now you can see that the activity map shows that the search has been completed. And this is what we got as a result. And here it shows the reference. So this information is coming from this CSV file. If we look at the CSV file and try to find the exact information, for example, this question. So again, it's showing in searching in the data source we have provided. And it is showing this answer. So if you look at the CSV file, this is exactly coming from that CSV file. So basically, when we search, when we ask a prompt, or when we send a query, so this basically goes into our knowledge source and fetch information from there. So that completes our chat session. So we have created an agent. We have created an agent and we can change the name. We also discussed this GPT model, which is the default one. We specified some instruction and then we provided the data source, the knowledge source. Now let's talk about these tools and triggers. And for this one, I will create a new agent and then we'll create tools and triggers in that. Okay, I will say, please create an agent for me that will create a record in SharePoint. Agent name would be Copilot SharePoint Record Creator. So it is configuring our agent. Okay, so based on the description we have provided, it has created an agent. So just click on create. So it has automatically added this description tag for us based on the information we have provided. The instructions act. So this is the basically the instructions it has loaded, but we can delete this one and we can write something like please create a SharePoint record based on the configuration provided in triggers section. So the trigger section is here. So we will, whatever we define here, it will follow that. So that means we can save it now. So we don't need to worry about the knowledge, which we discussed in the last video. So we don't need to enable the web search. We can disable that. So let's discuss this tools thing. The tools basically can help this agent to do something. So what we are planning to do is we will create a Microsoft form, and when the form is submitted, we want to send a message to Teams as a Teams notification that somebody has submitted the form, and we take the form information and store it in a SharePoint list. So let's first create the form. So you go to forms.office.com and click on new form. So the title of the form would be, so if it is Copilot SharePoint record, let's start with the text option first. Maybe something else. That will be a text question. Then we can have a choice. Let's say that would be a yes and no option. Let's see, add one more question. Maybe some sort of number. Let's go with choice. So that will be yes and no as well. Yep. So they're looking good. So we have created three questions. The first one is just a text string. The second one is a yes no, and the third one is also yes no. So we need to create a SharePoint list that will store this information. So let's go and create a list. So the title will store this thing, the string, the question number one. And do you like Copilot? So that would be a choice column. And the third question. Okay. So we created two more columns. The title was already there. So we created, do you like Copilot and do you like Microsoft? So that information for question number two and three will be stored in these two columns. So that part is done. Now in here, how you want to trigger it. So the trigger would be whenever this form is submitted. So if I click on add trigger, here it is when a form response is submitted. Yeah, so that is our form and click on create trigger. Okay, so the trigger has been created. So whenever we submit a form, this will trigger this agent. In the tool section, let's create a tool. So in tools, it's similar to Flow, but we can do some extra stuff. For example, whenever this form is submitted, I want to send a message, a chat message in Microsoft Teams. So I click on Microsoft Teams. So I will say post a message in a chat or channel. So click on add and configure. So now we need to configure it. So if this information, the post as information is coming from the chat or from the agent, then we can leave it as is, but we know that this will be a custom value. So this will be flow for bot because it's just sending a message. So I'll click on the flow bot. Post in, we know the value. So that would be chat with flow bot. So who would be the recipient? So that would be myself. and what message you want to send. For example, we can say a form has been submitted. Okay, looks okay. Click on save. Just make sure the information is correct and looks like it's all ready. Okay, now go back to overview. So now in the tools, we have this the chat message, and in the triggers, we have this form. And I think it's now time to test it. So click on this test trigger button and go to your form and click on preview. And I say yes, and I say yes, and submit. Okay. So if I go to Copilot and it has identified that somebody has submitted the form. So click on start testing. It is asking for the permission. So we give that permission. And meanwhile, let me open the chat. Okay, looks like we have received a message. Yeah, a form has been submitted. So this is all looking good. Our trigger is working. Now we need to test. So tool is working. The next step is trigger. Trigger is also working, but it is just sending a message. It's not actually submitting any information in SharePoint. To do that, click on these and add in Power Automate. Okay. So when this trigger triggers, the trigger of this is when a form is submitted, and after that, it just send a prompt and doesn't do anything else. So what we need to do is, whenever a form is submitted, we need to get the detail of that form. So get response details. So we need to provide a form ID. So we know the form name, and the form ID would be from the trigger. And when we have received the response detail, the next thing we need to do is create a record in SharePoint. So let's search for create item. The list is this one. The list name is Copilot SharePoint record list. And we have to provide the values of these three things. So the title would be this thing. How would you like to use this form? And do you like Copilot? So I will go to custom value and pick this one. Do you like Microsoft? Pick this one. I think that's it. Let's save it and test it. It's showing failed. Not sure why. So let's publish and test. Okay, so looks like has been triggered. It has created an item in SharePoint, but somehow it is failing here. Let's have a look in the SharePoint first. Okay, the record has been created, which is all good. We need to look into that now. It's complaining about invalid parameter. Maybe because we don't have the agent we created and does not exist in this dropdown. And one possible reason could be that this is not published yet. So let me publish this first and let's see again. Okay, so this has been published now. And let me just refresh this. Yeah, I think it's there now. And we can bring this out of for each loop. We don't need it here. And let's save and let's test. Okay, it's all good. So if I now go to my SharePoint list, I think we tested multiple times. It has created multiple records, but we can delete all these. Okay, so looking good now. And now let's go to form and do one more submission and see how it works. So that's all good. There we go. So form has been submitted, which is what we were expecting. So I think that's it. So we have created an agent. The first agent we created that has a knowledge. This time we created an agent that has tools, which is just sends a message to a Teams channel, and then we defined a figure, and then we automate in Power Automate. We added some steps to get a response from a Microsoft Forms and create a SharePoint list. In the next section, in the next video, in fact, we will talk about agents and the topics. This topic is quite interesting and needs a little bit more time to explain because it has all these laws and things. And this topic can trigger another topic. And what happen when you say yes and no? You don't have to type yes and no. So based on whatever you type, it will identify it. Are you saying yes or are you saying no? And based on that, you're doing some conditions and sending messages or starting a different topic. But that we will leave for another video. That's it for today. I hope you liked it, enjoyed it. And if you did, please subscribe. And if you have any question, just send me a message in comments. Thank you. Bye bye.